Hello and welcome, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. It's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being with us today. I wanted to come on. I just came back from a walk a little earlier this morning with our old golden retriever Jagger, and he's 13. And today he was struggling a bit. The heat isn't really, helping with everything, but he was struggling a bit. And I was just walking through the woods and soaking in the energy, feeling the presence of what is unfolding for so many of us, for so many of you. And I wanted to ask this question today. I wanted to ask you, specifically you, because I thought of you. Are you struggling today? Are you in pain today? Are you feeling hopeless, maybe even today? And before we go into it deeper, I just wanted to say we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. Please don't forget the mantra, even on days that seem hopeless, even on days that seem bleak. We're healthy, wealthy, whole, and free is a mantra. It's an affirmation. It doesn't always have to be true in a moment. It's something we speak and feel into existence. Welcome everybody in the live chat. Piper, Soraya, I see Krista Labella, Gerald, Sharon, welcome everybody. What are the struggles that I'm talking about? Well, let's peel the onion a little bit, and let's be completely open. Also, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. The world at large, if you look at the world, if you're an observer, then depending on where you are and what your current field of view is, you might see something really beautiful, but you might feel something a little deeper because you are in tune, because your sensors are very sharpened, and so you feel a very intense energy. Some people feel tired and they can't really pinpoint it. They don't know why they are tired so often. They seemingly sleep enough, maybe they eat well, exercise, whatever, and still feel tired or don't have a lot of energy. Some people just feel like they can't get a clear thought, right? They can't really catch a break on that. It's like there's a fog there. Some people just feel overwhelmed by the sheer plethora of subjects and news stories and rabbit holes that are unfolding. There's many reasons, and some people are just dealing with their own lives and their own struggles in life, maybe financially, health-wise. There's many reasons, but there is a thread that goes through it all that connects so many of us and so many of you, and so many of you are sharing some similar feelings right now. And I want to start with something that people underestimate, but it is here. One of the things that is really weighing on all of us is the onslaught of frequencies that we're exposed to at any given moment in the developed world, if you will. The further you're out in the country, or you're out really in nature, it gets less, but the grid is really intense, and then of course it's being built up, and that's something that people that are very in tune struggle with even more, because they can feel it. They can feel how it interferes. That's one thing that has been intensifying because of the technologies that are being introduced, because of the frequencies that have been introduced over the last few years, because of the increasing of that. That is something that many of us really struggle with, because we can feel how it interferes with our systems. It's not that there aren't solutions, but we can feel that. Then, of course, we have an opening for so many subjects that on one hand is finally here, something that a lot of us have been working on, that basically the society at large can see and deprogram from the many lies and the many deceptions that we've been exposed to for so long. And while it is quite fulfilling and satisfying to see this process, it is also tiring at times, because it seems to be very slow and doesn't move as fast as we would hope it would. So that's another thing. And then we are, we're beings that have our own stories intertwined in all of this. And our lives don't always play out the way we maybe planned it. Things don't move as fast, or developments don't come through the way we expect them and hope for. So these are all factors that leave us struggling. Sometimes we just feel the pain. And first and foremost, um, if nobody said this to you lately, it's okay. It's okay to have these moments. It's okay to feel sadness. It's okay to feel anger. We are so, people are so exposed to programs and positivity programs where you are apparently never allowed to feel an emotion fully. You're never allowed to feel a feeling fully. I think it's a wrong development, because we are human beings that have a full spectrum of feelings, and all of those feelings teach us something, show us something, right? But there's one thing that for me in my life really, really changed the trajectory, where if I have moments of sadness, if I have moments, really, they are really moments where I struggle with something, they these moments are quite short, to be honest. And it wasn't always like that. I remember being in a funk for weeks, sometimes months, and struggling with the same subject, struggling with the same feelings, struggling with the same inadequacies over and over again. And I didn't feel like I had a way out of that. And I'll be completely honest with you here. It was at that time, and I realized that I acknowledged the existence of the Creator. I acknowledged the existence of God, but I didn't cultivate a relationship on my part at all. Like I think I didn't even know how to go about it. I only had those preconceived ideas of what others had told me I needed to do, and those others didn't really seem to have a relationship themselves. That's just how it goes. You go to church and you pray and you do that, and hope for the best, kind of thing. And I realized at one point that there's only so much that this human body, this temple, this mind can do when they're disconnected, when they're not connected to God. And this is not something that just came to me in a moment. It was a realization that came over a period of time. It's limited. I mean, everything's limited. The strength of my muscles. I mean, in various states of my life, I used to be a professional athlete. So, well, those muscles were in really, really great shape. They were still limited. My brain has still limited capacity. And all the other functions in my body still have limited capacities. There's only so much that I, as a disconnected human being, can do and be a part of. Now, this whole story begins to change quite dramatically when you bring the Creator. And yesterday, and this interview is going to air tomorrow, we had a great interview with a wonderful lady. She does great work, and I can't wait for you to hear it. But she said she called God, and by various names, but also the intelligent designer. It's a beautiful description, right? The intelligent designer. I think we struggle with various shades of disconnection from God. One of the shades is that most people don't have a daily practice to welcome and give God a space in their lives. That's one thing. And I'm not pointing fingers, because it's just not something we are taught. It's not part of our culture. Not even in the religious families. It's really practiced. You practice the morning prayer and you practice gratitude and saying grace, but so much of it has a ritualistic value more than it has an intrinsic spiritual value. And again, this, because I think these are just words repeated that you learn. They might not be your own words, they might not be your own conversation, but it started to change for me when I first realized, okay, of course there's a Creator. I mean, look at everything around you. There's an intelligent designer. Look at this temple that we inhabit, and the absolutely amazing abilities it has, what it does, how all our cells renew. I mean, there's so much that when we really pay attention, that we just have to go, wow, I mean, this is the truth. This is nothing but the truth. There is an intelligent designer. But then that first step is, okay, well, that intelligent designer is somewhere out there. And then it's always a distant conversation. It's like you're asking and pleading and hoping and wishing, and you're sending it out there, far out there. And for some reason, that just didn't seem like it was really enough. It just didn't seem like I had some sort of inner peace through that. So on my own journey, I thought, okay, I got to give God a seat at the table. And that was still something that was next to me, or, across from me. I'm symbolically speaking here, but it wasn't until I surrendered. It's a surrender, because to really create this authentic relationship, you have to surrender all the other ideas. You have to give them up, all the other ego ideas of whatever else we constructed in this time of darkness, and surrender to your own divinity. Man, well, that sounds blasphemic, doesn't it? I mean, you're not divine. I'm not divine. That's what people have told us, right? But if we are created by our intelligent designer, well, we have divinity within us. We must have that spark, right? So I said within. I didn't say next to us. I didn't say outside of us. I said within. There's divinity inside of us. But how do you access that? And why do you access that? That's a whole different conversation. Most people, when they really, really have an intense conversation with God, is because they struggle, because they want relief, because they desire peace. There's nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing. God, the creator, is constantly, and this is how I experience, sending love and peace. This is like, it's a natural state of being for the creator. Are we receiving it? Are we giving it space? That's a whole different question, because we're the question mark in this equation. I don't question God. I don't question the creator. The creator has already given everything, proven the wonders and the beauty and the love and the joy, everything at all times. I think it's us who disconnect ourselves, or we're being disconnected, or we are taught to disconnect ourselves. Of course, there are all these factors, but it's still always a decision we can make once we become aware. It is us who, when we begin to open ourselves up for the experience and become receptive to it, right? How does that feel, to open yourself up and become receptive? For me, that's just for me. It's a space here. I open this space really up. It's in my heart and spirit area. I open it up. And this is where I imagine giving the creator a seat inside of me. And my mornings are really, some of my morning rituals, I'll keep to myself. It's private, it's intimate. It's between me and God. But one of the things I say every morning is thank you. Thank you for expressing yourself through me. Thank you for giving me the words. Thank you for, giving me the actions. And that, to me, in my mind, in my experience, I bring God to me rather than looking for God outside of us, outside of me. I believe as a parent, a parent of three, I have three children. Christina and I have three children, and they're young adults now. But as a parent, I have taught and shown my children to have faith in themselves, but not just the human ego self and the capabilities and talents and skills that they have, but faith in the divine intuition that's inside of them if they choose to accept it. And when you do that, you will still have moments where you're sad. You will still have moments when you struggle with something, but you are rooted and anchored in something much, much deeper, in something eternal, something that surpasses and transcends this lifetime and the physical realm. And there's another aspect to this, and this is where it goes into so much of the work that you all are doing, and that so many of us are doing. When you step down these rabbit holes, when you explore the different deceptions and truths, then what is your tool for discernment? I will tell you this from my experience. If I'm not connected to my intelligent designer, to my creator, I don't have real discernment. I only have logic and reasoning, which are good tools, but they're not perfect tools disconnected from spirit. And so discernment comes from having this real, authentic relationship with God, which also lets you feel truth and lets you feel deception. It doesn't always mean you have the words for it or the reason for it or the logic for it. You just feel it. And you go by that, and then you allow for the evidence to present itself in due time. But this can only happen when you have this authentic relationship. And how do you cultivate? How do you establish it? This is an unlearning of everything else that you've been taught and an accepting of the natural truths. And this is the beauty. You don't really learn to be connected to God. You unlearn all the rest, and then you let yourself be guided on that journey. But to me, in my experience, you do have to close your eyes and release the addiction to the physical senses for a while. So where you go within in prayer and meditation, and you overcome the desire to think every thought that comes through, right? You overcome the desire to control that moment. You overcome the desire to scratch a part of your body or pay attention to a noise that's somewhere. You really go within, and you start to notice either there's a space that's filled or there's a void. And either way, you can do something. When there's a void inside of you, then you can accept that divine presence into yourself, into your being. And when there already is something there, explore it further, what it is, what its natural energy is. I do believe this is mainly what this time is teaching us, that we are awakening to who we really are, awakening to so much information that's stored inside of us. As a matter of fact, we posted a segment yesterday, which we're going to build on, which was called, the true history finally unveiled. But it really speaks about dormant parts inside of us that now that we're awakening, we're waking up to a divine culture that we once used to live in. We're waking up to our real authentic relationship with the creator. And that's what I think the awakening really, really, really is. It's not just learning the truth and deception of this world, because this physical world, I think, will always have those aspects, not in the intensity we're seeing now, but some of them. Maybe not always, but for the time being. But there is a world beyond that doesn't have that is the eternal truth. The creator God is the eternal truth. There is no shaking it. There's no changing it. There's no altering it. There's a eternal, unchangeable truth there. And the beautiful thing about this is, the whole message here today, the beautiful thing about that is, you don't need anything outside of you to create, recreate, or intensify that relationship. It's all inside of you. You just have to make different choices and start your day differently. Think about it this way. I have this notebook in front of me. Think about today as this. It's a blank page. It's a fresh slate. It's a new beginning. And you can choose what intention you want to express today. And my greatest intention every day is to give and maintain the space of the creator inside of me, to give the creator the space inside of me. and to not give into my ego desires. Oh, I know better. My plan's more awesome. It's a co-creation. And I think this is what God's message was all along. It's a co-creation. We are co-creating, because what parent does not want uh, his or her children to be co-creators on the journey, to bring their own love, their own creativity to it? I think this is what we're all experiencing through these times. And here's another thing too. With God really integrated in your life, there is nothing you cannot overcome. Does it mean that it always plays out in this physical life? No, that's not what I'm talking about. But with this connection intact, there's nothing that could possibly ever destroy that. There simply isn't. It gives you a kind of peace and a kind of knowing that transcends every other tool in the box that you might have. And some tools are powerful, but nothing is like the relationship with the Creator. And when I had these epiphanies, realizations over time, and I began realizing this, for me, so because I'm an artist, right? I'm a songwriter. I've been a songwriter all my life, and that's just how I do. Oftentimes, it's easiest expressed in a song because you can only point to it. Really, you have to experience it. But I wrote the song years ago, "Faith in Me," and it wasn't until God said, "Okay, now's the time, release it," that earlier this month we released it. And I just want to play real quick, if you haven't heard it, the chorus to you, because the chorus really describes what I'm talking about here. So let me just play this for you real quick here. Yeah, I'm gonna put all of my faith in me, 'cause that's where you live and that's where you breathe. Yeah, I'm gonna put all of my faith in me, 'cause that's where you put all of your love and peace. Yeah, so this is basically, this is in a nutshell just this little piece of the song that um really sort of describes the feeling. Again, it cannot be fully described, but this is really the message for today. I wanted to come on and first of all just acknowledge that it is okay. We all have moments where we feel sadness, hopeless. There is nothing, and this is my innermost knowing, there's nothing that we cannot overcome or come through with the Creator. And if we give the Creator a space inside of us, a place to live, a place to express, then miraculous things begin to happen in our lives. This has been my experience, but you have to be willing to go there. And last but not least, how do you know? How do you know that you have this? Because someone asked me days ago, how do I know if I have an authentic relationship with my Creator? And I thought that's a good question. Have you ever heard someone ask you, how do I know if I'm in love? And you know the answer to that. When you are in love, you don't ask that question. And it's the same with having an authentic relationship with God. Once you have that connection, you don't ask the question. You know it. You know it with every fiber of your being. There is no doubt about it. And so my suggestion would be, not advice, but suggestion would be, to go, walk, sit as long as it takes in silence in nature with the intention until you feel a sort of peace and love flow over you and through you that is undeniably of God. Undeniably of God. It's unconditional. It does not say, only if you do this, I will give you my love. It does not say, only if you fulfill this, I will be gracious. It is grace and love and peace unconditionally available to all of us. That's the message. So thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being with us on this journey. I'm getting ready here to do an interview with Dr. Northrup, whom so many of you love dearly, our dear friend. And we'll be sharing that in the next few days as well. So much love to you all. Many blessings. Have a wonderful day. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.